Emerald City Confidential was a game created by indie developer Wadjet Eye Games and published by PlayFirst in early 2009 for the PC and Mac. Following on from most of their other games, most notably the Blackwell series, Emerald City is a third-person point-and-click adventure game set in Lyman Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz universe. Now set some years after Baum's last novel, Glinda of Oz, the game follows the exile of the former Gnome King. Make sense to you? It didn't make sense to me either, though Emerald City helps to fill in those gaps. You play as a private investigator named Petra who, like most of the other characters within the game, have a fairly cynical outlook on life. Petra is, by the way, a totally new creation within the Oz universe, but whose life the game revolves around.
The Warehouse District. For months I've been following a trail of clues, and the trail ended here. That's right, Lion. I've almost got you. I've got a folder of documents that prove all of your crimes. I just need to get into that warehouse and see what you've been up to.
Going back through, one of the most noticeable features of Emerald City is an emphasis on the strong female characters Petra invariably meets on her travels, and who is in herself a prime example. Now this in turn leads to many fun and interesting personality clashes. Though the game's designer, Dave Gilbert, has done a great job in making subtle changes so the players can tell them apart easily. For instance, you have Betsy Bobbins.
Yeah, I know him, lousy lowlife. If you find that bum, you can keep him.
Dee.
Oh, I'll contact you. I'll be watching. If I need to speak to you, you'll hear from me.
General Ginger and Petra herself, but to name a few, each of whom have strong personalities but remain distinctly unique at the same time.
What is this? Friendly chit-chat? I'm busy, Petra.
The journey starts off with Petra on the verge of closing a case on the game's apparent antagonist, the Lion, who is not only the best lawyer in the kingdom, but the total opposite of the coward portrayed in the original novel. Not only does she find Lion a tough nut to crack, she soon finds herself caught in a tangled web of deceit involving a man named Ansel and Dorothy herself, who has since been made an honorary princess by Queen Ozma. Magic has since been outlawed by Ozma with the exception of a few select people, and this ties in nicely with the seedy mise-en-scène of the Emerald City itself, together with a continual air of suspicion for those still using it.
Items of a magic nature?
Oh! You want illegal magical goods? Shh! Sure, I can give you illegal magical goods. Keep it down, Scraps. I have lots of illegal magical goods. For Lurlene's sake, will you pipe down? Just tell me what kind of illegal magical goods you need.
Throughout the game, players will be confronted with real human emotions that lie hidden amongst the dark and miserable surroundings, and this is played out through Petra's feelings towards her long-lost brother, but more on this subject later. Now, every time you complete an episode, a little jewel will be coloured in near the bottom of the screen. There are 50 of these so-called episodes representing the main game. Aside from this, players can also collect different coloured buttons dotted throughout the world in order to unlock medals and various fantastic art sketches.
These drawings are labeled concept art. I have no idea what that means, but I'll keep them in my notebook.
Colours feature prominently within the game. Staying true to the original novels, Emerald City emphasises the colours red, purple, blue, yellow and emerald to denote the denominations of the world. You can clearly see this not only in its reference to Baum's original maps and its use of colour combinations in certain puzzles, but also for the jewels representing the 50 episodes the player completes. Emerald City set some small precedents for Wadjet Eye, as not only was it created by a much larger development team than the other projects, it was the first to be released in conjunction with PlayFirst, and one of the only games not to have been created using AGS, or the Adventure Game Studio engine. Special note must go to the voice acting, which is of an exceptionally high standard. Sound is provided by the respectable Summertone Interactive Audio, and this mixture of acting talent and audio expertise really does make a difference in Emerald City. The voices of Petra and Trot in particular deserve special mention.
Please listen, I can pay.
An opportunity to bug the General and get paid for it? Maybe she's on the level. Alright kid, you got 5 minutes.
Having said this, the music is neither as prolific as Wadjet Eye's other games, nor does it ever really stand out, which is a great shame. The game would have been better suited to having at least one memorable soundtrack considering its style and artistic settings. The inventory is fairly straightforward, as is the visuals and animation. Though fairly basic, have their own style that blends in with my next point, the ambiguous concept of the postmodern condition. The game is a multi-layered parody in many ways. It demonstrates a reaching back to the past and forward to the future. We should also remember that the last book Baum ever wrote was arguably his most darkest, which some attribute to his failing health. The game, whether intentionally or otherwise, uses this as a reason for adopting a postmodern perspective. Looking at examples, we can quite easily spot the stylish film noir influence of Hollywood crime dramas against the backdrop of a bustling metropolis replete with flying modes of transport. The game not only portrays postmodernism through its architecture and art, but through its postmodernist society. I mentioned before that everybody seems to have an attitude brought about by continual pessimism because of their predicaments, and this is just another example of how the game plays on the lack of humanity within the streets. It should however be noted that this is the intention of the game, as the official reason for the city's general negativity is because of Queen Ozma herself, a stab at the monarchy as an ancient relic perhaps.
Look, Buster, I'm going in there whether you like it or not.
The name's Toto, lady. And if you want to go in there, there's no skin off my paws.
You're not guarding the entrance?
No.
Sorry. Long day.
It's also fun to be able to immediately take up the reins of the story, even if you have no prior experience with the Oz universe, for the game not only encourages you to find out more, but provides a handy pill machine that enables players to read up on the various characters and histories surrounding the game. To encourage its use, this pill machine is part of the actual puzzle solving within the game, so it's easier to find yourself spending more and more time there than anticipated.
These knowledge pills sure are tasty.
They are not created for taste, but I'm glad you enjoy them.
The most important thing for me, however, was that the game tries to portray Petra's hope, regardless of the turmoils following the war. Initially in the adventure, you notice that Petra's behaviour is a reaction to the newfound pessimism of the society around her, though there are many times you see a more humane side to her, a nature that she attempts to cover up and deny, even to herself. The ending is much more prominent, knowing the trials and tribulations she had earlier gone through, both past and present. Emerald City Confidential is truly one of the best indie games I've ever played, and is a triumph of character over multi-million-dollar development budgets. It might be relatively easy, and the point-and-click gameplay might not be to everyone's liking, but like its name suggests, it is a little gem in the crown jewels.